Invasion commencing.
Alrighty. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Phoenix Rising.
Choose your reinforcements.
I have decided, on reflection, that we're going to take Vinsoth.
Cantor's unit on point now.
And then I think we're actually going to move directly from here.
On my way.
North to Kutrick. Because I do not like the location of this fleet currently. Specifically the ground forces. They are just too exposed. It would be entirely too easy with that fleet of Dominators just sat over there. I know they only have, at least I think they only have the one left. I don't know, maybe they have more. But either way, I'm not comfortable with just leaving these guys here with a large enemy fleet that has an interdictor just sat over there. It is just asking for trouble, I think.
Yes, Commander. Affirmative. Give me a target.
Asking for trouble, and even if
We've secured a landing zone.
we can do the same maneuver again, basically, you know,
What are your orders? Proceeding.
destroy the Dominator and then leave. It's still going to be an issue simply because that took us quite a while, and if there's going to be all of our ground forces in that battle, they're going to be able to just basically sit there and rip us apart. And there's not a whole lot we would be able to do about it, even with Akbar's entire fleet. It was just that they were just... Basically, they had too much free reign during that battle to do whatever they wanted.
Y-Wing Squadron reporting. Roger. Gold Squadron commencing attack. Moving into position.
Transport ready. Acknowledged. I'm with you.
Ew.
Take him out.
It's an interesting design. I don't hate it, but it's a camper van. Like this is the sort of thing that you would see as like the sort of vehicle that you would take a vacation in.
What do I get to blow up?
You know, like it not only doesn't seem like a military vehicle, it doesn't seem like the sort of thing that you would want to try and convert into a military vehicle, you know? Like, sure, civilian vehicles do get converted to a military purpose from time to time, that's fine, but usually it's stuff like...
We're an assault tank, not a boat.
Really?
I've got him in my sights.
Usually it's stuff that either is already heavily armored, like I can believe these things are converted mining vehicles. That's already pretty heavy duty. The other type would be just the sort of thing that isn't going to have armor. So instead of armor, you go with speed.
We've secured a build
I
pad.
copy. Cannons charged.
And, like, do we not have any of them?
Ready.
These.
Course set.
That is a civilian vehicle that I would expect to be converted,
Bombardment incoming.
or to be able to be converted into a military use. Like, sure. Because civilian vehicles, believe it or not, don't typically come equipped with armor.
Ready.
And I don't
Bomb
feel like
drone
this is,
available.
like,
We've lost a build pad.
you could make the argument that you could just armor it, like
Moving.
strap plates of armor to an RV,
Yes, sir.
Copy.
Distract them for me.
Right behind
but an RV is not exactly designed to be able to handle, like the actual chassis
Y-wing
is
standing
not
by.
designed to be able to handle
Reporting in.
armor.
Target acquired.
So,
Gold Squadron commencing
We've
attack.
secured
like a mining vehicle,
I have visual contact.
yeah,
We've lost
I
a build
could,
pad.
even if it's not necessarily
Copy that.
already armored, but if you take something like
Form up. Engaging
just an excavator
Waiting
I'm under
your orders.
attack.
and
Ready. Awaiting your command.
really, and strap armor to an excavator, sure, that I can believe
To assist.
would be
All wings
potentially
ready, sir.
useful.
Fire.
It should be able at least to handle the load of the armor on the chassis.
Awaiting orders. Moving into position.
Something like this, you're not gonna armor it at all because you're relying on the fact that it's fast.
Unit
It's
destroyed.
fast and
Roger that.
inconspicuous.
Assault in progress.
Well, I guess it could be inconspicuous until you strap the giant cannon to the top of it. Then it's a little less so, but you get the idea. You're relying on the speed for something like this.
Unit destroyed.
But something like this just doesn't feel like the sort of thing that you would convert,
At your command. On
like,
my way.
ever.
What is my next objective? If I must. They are nothing. Do you have a plan?
Do the Jedi not have healing?
I go.
Do they not heal up automatically? I thought for sure they did.
Transport ready.
Combat systems at 100%.
Armor ready. Course
I clicked out of the window.
plotted.
Nope, I regret everything. Whoops.
Awaiting orders. Reporting, Commander.
Provide cover as necessary.
Yes, Commander.
Yeah, I don't know. They just seem out of place.
Waiting orders. I come.
We've got them on the run.
Bombing run available.
It was an odd lag spike.
Your orders?
Juggernaut
Seemed
ready.
like it lagged right before they were,
I am
Got us
clear.
locked on target.
or right as they were deciding to leave.
Ready to roll. Weapons ready.
I've got my approach vector.
Do we not have good bombers in this fleet? Why were those just Y-wings?
Planetary control achieved.
Thought we had at least good, or at least half decent B-wings. But yes. What I was saying is basically, I realized that they can go over Dathomir. That is my actual problem. Not that they can go through Agamar. I would expect to see them gather at Agamar. But if they go over Dathomir, we won't be able to see it coming. And because we have the ground forces here, like if it was just Akbar, I would say we're fine to just sit here. But because it's not,
Tactical battle.
I think what we need to do is hit this, invade on the ground, and then pull Akbar back to Vinsoth. That way, the ground forces are protected in case they try something. But we're still, like, accomplishing something back here. Mostly, I just want to get the ground forces out of the line of fire.
I am with you. Setting course.
Again, if it was just his fleet, I would say we'll just sit there and do the same thing again, destroy the Dominator and then leave. Just, you know, break what we can and then leave. But, and even then, like, that has been risky. Like, that battle was definitely very risky. We could easily have lost, well, the whole fleet, actually, potentially. Because all they needed to do was bring in that other Dominator as soon as the first one went down. And they would have been able to get the interdictor field up in time to stop us. I'm almost certain. So if they had done that, I mean, Home 1 was already down quite a bit on health, so that's risky. Add in a bunch of ground forces into the mix at the same time, and like
We're on station.
that's just a recipe for losing a lot of forces.
Shuttle here.
Weapons armed. Enemy target sighted.
Is there any particular reason you guys aren't leaving? Are there shuttles?
Coming in fast.
I didn't notice ground forces when we looked.
They're falling back.
Okay, no. The other option, of course, was to go to Axilla.
Research complete.
Ooh, research complete.
Proceeding.
But, well, honestly, I don't know why I didn't go to Axilla. I guess we can do that next, potentially. Although that does... I guess the reason not to do that is because we have solid defenses on Bodajef, and going through Axilla, that would just bypass it. You know, they would be able to go this way and skip Bodajef entirely. And from what I understand, the AI is generally speaking more willing to attack the player than they are to attack independent forces. So as long as we have options that are ours around here, they're not likely to try and go through here. So I guess that's probably makes Kutrick the better choice. Bombers are still just taking forever. What was the research complete? Oh, it was Alderaan. That was the Gammas. Nice. Those are not cheap. Wow. It's on par with a Manka. Okay, that's... yeah, that's a lot. I guess the next thing we're doing is DP-20s. I suppose, actually, lore-wise, you could say that it makes sense because we had this guy. What is his name? Varric. We sent him to Corellia to speed up the research there, but then he retreated before the enemy attacked and came to Alderaan. Lore-wise, you could easily explain that as he took the research with him and then continued it on Alderaan. Obviously, gameplay-wise, that doesn't work, but it's fine. And, so because of that, we'll say Alderaan is the best choice for doing this research. Speaking of doing research, how much else do we need? We need this. We're not that far off, except these are going to take a long time. So yeah. We've done most of the quick stuff. And now we're getting into the longer stuff. Which, I suppose you could argue that we should have done first, but because it's unlocking stuff rather than researching better stuff, doing the shorter, faster stuff first gets us access to the better, well, the other units more quickly. I guess. I suppose you could probably argue both ways. It's more dependent on specific situation than one is better than the other. Although I suppose, assuming the time to build has any bearing at all on the time to research, these two aren't nearly as long as this. So hopefully they won't take quite as crazy long. Guess we're gonna find out. But another thing we're gonna want to do, I'm not sure if we should do this episode, but we do need to take Shazwa
On the way.
somehow. Let's take a look. They haven't built anything else, I don't think. Pretty sure this is everything. Oh, that's not going to help them when we do this. That's nice. I mean, considering, like, we've seen these guys go up against these guys, and the damage, like, they just don't seem to do enough damage. But at the same time, these things are really good against armor. Yeah, I don't like this. We're just gonna lose too much, I feel. Yeah, I really just don't feel like we have a very good answer to those things. Like, at least not currently. They are Mark IVs, so, that's worth mentioning. None of our stuff is a Mark IV, except for the infantry, which, I mean, I don't know. The Vanguards are basic level infantry. Do these Marines get better anti-vehicle? Well-trained close assault forces. Capable of storming enemy positions. Fortified enemy positions. Okay, that's great, but that's not... These seem like our best anti-vehicle infantry, so I'm feeling like... I don't know, I guess infantry is just probably not the best choice against those. Though that does beg the question, if even your fully upgraded anti-vehicle infantry aren't really all that useful against heavy vehicles, I don't know. These will probably help, I would imagine. They'll probably help quite a bit. And, well, I guess at that point it's just a matter of, will we have the armor necessary to keep it alive? Because the thing I'm afraid of with these things is that we're going to land and they're just going to be able to rush us and destroy all of our stuff. And I don't feel like anything here is going to be able to stop them. To be honest, I don't think everything here would be able to stop them. I'm not entirely convinced that even if we were able to drop everything here onto the ground at once, would that be enough? Maybe? Maybe? But, like, the fact that I can even ask that question, yeah, I don't know what to do about this. I guess we're just gonna have to leave it until we've got better vehicles. It's literally the only thing I can think of to do.
Invasion commencing.
Well, this is the same map as BIS.
Choose your reinforcements.
Proceeding.
Oh, is there not another landing zone?
There they are.
There's not, I guess. Wait, it's not BIS. It's the other planet.
Enemy base shields up.
What is the other planet? I'm fairly sure there's a planet that has this map. What is it? I can't remember.
Armored transport ready. Ready. As
I guess
you
I don't
wish.
know why I'm bothering with the transports. Let's have a group to go across the water. Repeating blaster, that sounds useful.
Right away.
And then another group to head
Underway.
this direction.
Reinforcements cancelled.
Oh, come on, why is there what is this hill, like this spot here? See, like, why can we drop them there with this, like, giant divot, and then here it's perfectly flat and it won't let you? What is this? What is this?
Reinforcements cancelled.
Engines primed. Checking sector.
Copy. Moving out.
Reporting.
Armed and ready.
Ooh,
Copy
that's actually not all that useful. What is this? Somebody must have had an accident with
Reporting in.
some missing texture
What are
pink
your
paint.
orders?
I copy. Reporting. Right away, sir. Ready, sir. Transfer coordinates.
Ready.
Okay, look,
Moving
guys.
to that area, sir. Destination received.
I appreciate that I just told you to go there, but like actually keep it going.
Yes, sir. Underway.
At your command.
I mean, that thing is just gonna be broken
Heading
as we
out.
go
Awaiting orders.
past it, so let's just go past it. I suppose I would be more okay with the camper van things if more of the rebellion vehicles looked kind of like that. You know, clearly a civilian truck that has been converted. But like we've got proper actual tanks, for crying out loud. You know?
Yes, sir. Transport here. Right away.
I copy. Beginning attack.
Bombing run available.
What is it, Commander?
Copy.
It's
Going.
not gonna be a super easy way to
Bombers at the ready.
break that.
Ready. Heading out.
I
Computers
mean, I
locked
guess
on
we don't
target.
really need to, do we? Let's just
Weapons loaded.
go
Moving
that
out.
way.
I'm with you.
Any particular reason only the one bomber fired?
Target.
Why are these other two not? Did I miss the bombs? Can't imagine I did, because they all... I would have seen them. I would have thought.
I copy. Commencing
Although,
attack.
it's worth mentioning, I have noticed that for some reason,
Position Alpha successfully
the first bombing run
Comlink active.
tends to be
Waiting, sir. Commencing attack.
less effective than subsequent bombing runs. Like,
Enemy targeted. Roger that.
by a pretty noticeable amount.
Sensor node constructing.
There have been more than a few times, especially, I've noticed it especially on Sullust, where the first bombing run that comes through doesn't really do all that much.
Construction
The next
complete.
bombing run that comes through does an awful lot.
Heading in that direction.
Underway.
Form up.
Reporting. En route.
I don't think we need to destroy the power. I don't think that's victory relevant.
Transport ready.
That's supposed to be a repeating blaster. It doesn't seem very repeating, if I'm honest. Like,
We've got them on the run. Affirmative. Going there now. Ready. Weapons armed.
do these have repeating blasters?
Channel open.
Anti-personnel blaster. I can't remember the difference between the two. But, like, I'm fairly sure repeating weapons are supposed to fire faster, and they're firing at the same rate as these things, it seems like.
System conquered.
Of course, it's hard to tell with how many things we had there. How many different things were going on, but, like, still. It seemed at least comparable, and I thought the repeating ones, like,
V-wing here.
you know, were actually repeating. Like, they fired fast. Uh-oh. Something's happening.
Enemy fleet.
Looks like they did
approaching.
something. Oh dear.
Right away.
Alright, what have we got? Ryloth. Oh, okay, well. Victory at Ilum. Really? That is way out here in the boonies. Wonder if they get anything interesting from capturing that. given its significance. Although, like, that's... It used to be significant ages and ages ago. I don't feel like in this era it's all that relevant anymore. At least I don't think so. Could you not do this? It's just the enemy fleet approaching is not cool.
Enemy fleet approaching.
Seriously. It's like the boy who cried wolf. It's gonna say that at some point and I'm gonna think, oh, it's just Ryloth again, and it's not gonna be Ryloth. Oh, that's worrying. That's not good. Where did the Dominator end up? Oh dear.
Affirmative.
Really? Why would they be away from Corsandria is right here. Okay, don't particularly like that. I expected that the whole fleet would still be here, but this is a totally different fleet. It looks like. Well, if it didn't come down this way, then it must have gone up this way. Maybe that is what hit Ilum? There wasn't a space battle, though. It didn't say space battle. Unless that happened last episode and I missed it. I don't think so, though.
Enemy fleet approaching.
Okay, seriously, guys, what? Oh. Really? Am I the only one seeing the problem with this picture? Well, I think that fairly clearly suggests that Smuggler's Run is connected probably to Alzok. Because they cannot build ground units here. And they haven't been building these since before we took this planet. Like, we took this planet quite a while ago, and they weren't building any of those units then. That's not good. It's not good for two reasons. One, I'm almost certain they can do this. Two, this is the planet where we had the game crash on, and it was that ground battle. So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and save here. Okay. Even though it takes a century to save or load this game, particularly this mod, yeah, just took a save. Good possibility that that's going to happen any second now. I'm still waiting for these guys to get over here. Although, this fleet here is not the fleet that we wanted to engage with the bombers. I suppose, actually. That's not what I want. Akbar could do this. Yeah. Yeah, he sure could. And... okay, they moved... oh, that's another interdictor. Because they totally need more interdictor options. Given what we can see on adjacent planets, I'm going to do this. Gives us an opportunity to potentially kill a good portion of the fleet in this area. I mean, I say a good portion. Yeah, the only thing I actually want to kill here is these things. Honestly. The rest of that is not all that big a deal. I was just about to say something else. What was I going to say? Wait. What was it? I don't remember. Oh! That's what I was going to say. We need an interdictor. I think next month is definitely going to be that. Because there's a good chance that these guys are going to retreat. Because they can't
Tactical battle.
fight us. Why did these just appear? Oh, no, you know what? I know why. Because they were en route. They were on one of the hyperlanes, and because of the way the AI... well... when the AI's fleets are in transit to a planet, and a battle gets started on that planet, they automatically instantly arrive. That's what that was. They didn't just magically appear. They weren't, like, invisible or anything. They were in transit, and then it auto-deposited them on the planet, I guess.
The enemy is approaching.
Yes, indeed, the enemy is approaching. Well, actually, no, we're approaching the enemy.
Yes, Commander.
You can go ahead and just stay back here a bit. We're going to charge straight in. Of course, they are too. So, let's not be too hasty. I mean, this fleet isn't nothing.
Cruiser standing by.
Awaiting orders. Frigate reporting. Open fire.
That's not really necessary, is it?
What do you suggest?
I think Home 1 isn't really going to be in any danger here, so she's going to just push straight in.
What is your order?
I would like you to be away. As away as you can be.
Weapons armed.
Ready to commence.
Taking some shield damage, but it's fine. So far nobody has focused on Home 1 yet.
Yes, Commander. Enemy spotted.
I'm not actually kidding about wanting to destroy the Lancers.
Assault frigate here. We have them in our sight.
That is...
Ready to engage.
I'm going to consider that priority 2, with priority 1 being don't lose anything.
Reporting in. Moving to attack.
We're ready for action. We're advancing on your position.
Watch the crossfire.
A second. I am seeing not a single bomber group. Interesting. They do have deltas, and deltas, especially at the higher levels, do pack a punch, for sure. But they're not bombers. And the big difference between bombers and heavy gunships is that heavy gunships are so much easier to hit with the large weapons.
Acknowledged.
Speaking of, though, I think all of you guys should go this way.
Yes, Commander.
As much as I'm considering the Lancers the higher priority, it would be good to kill the rest of this stuff as well.
Standing by. Ready.
Can you...
Weapons charged.
Can you...
Where's the next target?
Yeesh.
Weapons operational here.
This dude is getting awfully close here. I don't know why.
I have contact. I am with you.
Roger that.
I don't think that frigate is gonna get away.
I'm losing control.
There's too many
We've lost our shields.
heavy weapons
Me. I can't
that are
see
targeting her. And I'm not sure why.
Form up. Awaiting orders. Copy.
You're probably gonna be fine as soon as that acclimator
it's no good.
is
Target
now.
in sight.
Um,
Drawing their fire.
can you not?
What do you
I'd
need?
appreciate it if you just did not.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no, actually though, go away.
They're firing behind me.
Run, run, run.
What do you suggest? Watch the fire.
I've got one on me.
Why does it seem like we're not launching everything? What is this? This is not everything. Weird.
Cruiser ready.
Yes, Commander.
Ready for command.
Ready for command,
I
sir.
need help.
Encountering resistance.
I can't
Go.
Orders received.
Standing by.
Awaiting orders.
Someone on my tail.
Initiating attack.
Roger that. Reporting in. Resistance.
Home shields are going down. I'm considering that a good thing because it means well, it meant that
Reporting.
fire was being pulled off of the other things,
I
but
am
it
waiting.
wasn't enough, not soon enough.
Awaiting orders.
Was that one of the...
Armed.
No, that was one of the good ones. No.
Yes, Commander. Open fire.
Here's something. As soon as we kill that, they're probably going to retreat.
All craft attack. Affirmative.
I lost engine 2.
I certainly would if I was them. Well, to be honest, if I was them, I probably wouldn't have made this engagement in the first place. This is a bad idea.
Yes, Commander.
Would have retreated. Well, I mean, I might have used the strike craft. The deltas could probably do
I'm losing control.
a bit of damage. Maybe.
Roger that.
Reporting.
Might have been worth a try, but yeah, I wouldn't have sent everyone forward like
I
that.
am with you. Moving into position. Affirmative.
I'm not seeing any more Lancers. I think we got them all.
Yes, sir. All craft engaged. Beware of traps. May the force be with us.
Yep, I think we're good. They will probably try to retreat here any second now. Although I say that, I don't think they'll be able to.
What do you suggest?
As in, I don't think they're going to get anything away. I was expecting kill, like, a few of the smaller things, but
Awaiting orders.
pretty much wiping them out at this point.
Cruiser standing by. Commence the attack.
I've got him lined up.
There is one TIE Bomber Squadron in amongst all of these. Oh, nope, there's one more. Still, they have not had hardly any bombers compared to what they usually have.
I'm on my approach.
Ready. Target confirmed.
But yeah, at this point we've gotten all of the
About time.
actual ships. Oh, that's why they're sticking around. I just thought they've got ground forces out there somewhere.
We're setting course for those coordinates. We're heading out.
Lambda shuttle ready.
Assault frigate here. Standing by. Setting course.
Yeah.
Ready. We're on the move. Moving ahead.
Somewhere.
Cruiser responding. Ready to commence. Standing by.
Homewood took quite a beating. I do wish there was some way to upgrade her to the Independence Mark IIs that we've researched. I don't think there is.
Watch where you're flying.
But it's such an enormous increase in effective health.
Weapons charged.
It would be really nice to have.
Control.
Ready.
Okay,
On my way.
she
Shuttle reporting.
could be in danger.
Cargo secure.
Bombers reporting in.
Armored transport ready. Weapons armed.
Awaiting your command. It will be done.
Roger that. Form up.
I need to break off.
Reporting in. Ready for commands.
What is your order?
There's one right there.
Waiting orders.
Got him now.
They had two, I think.
Attack formation.
Oh, yep, there it is. One there and one there.
Stay in attack formation. We've got them on the run.
Oh, really? Are you really not able to kill that? Okay, there we go. And I think that's all of their units. So they were, in fact, not able to get anything out. Unless they've got another random ground unit out here somewhere. Don't think so, unless one of those sentinels was. That's a bummer, but honestly, with what we took out, certainly worth it. Now, question. Should we bring the ground forces down here and take Vandermeer again? Or should we just hang out for a little bit? Because, again, I'm concerned about that Dominator fleet coming back. Okay, why are they shuffling these things around? They had 3 before, and fewer of these, weren't there? I think. We don't really have any armor here, do we? No, we don't.
Unit in production. Unit in production.
I don't know. I really don't know. It just... Out of curiosity, how is that ship going? It's getting there, slowly but surely. But yeah, if we could upgrade Home 1 into one of these, that'd be spectacular. At least, I'm reasonably certain we can't upgrade him. Now is probably not the time to send him back to a shipyard, but we might actually do that at some point. Oh, hi. What do you think you're doing? At an MTC? Yeah. These Venators, at least, might be from that Dominator fleet. You know, when we checked these planets, there is one thing I didn't think of, and that is the possibility that they were just in transit. Yeah. They might well be. I do not like this situation of not having eyes on the Dominator.
I am en route.
That is, of course, assuming they only have the one left, which it's probably not a reasonable assumption. But either way, you guys can just go ahead and come back. I don't care to hold on to these planets at the moment. Mostly it was just to break their stuff. Make them have to rebuild it if they take the planets back. At some point, our bombers will get here. And that will be an extra fleet that we can use. Plus, you have stuff building up back here. You know what? I'm going to send this straight over right now.
Setting course.
Enemy
Now,
fleet approaching.
oh dear. I thought that the way the hyperlane was rendered made a difference to how fast it was, but looking at these two, it doesn't seem to be the case. This one's clearly going slower than this one. But I thought the really thin ones were slower than the thicker ones. Okay, so there's that, and we're totally broke. But it's just about the end of the month. What is... Oh, is that what that is? Trade routes. Oh. Oh, that's what that is. So it doesn't tell you anything about how fast the lane will be. Well, that's interesting on the one hand, but annoying on the other hand, because that does mean that I don't see any way of being able to tell how fast or slow a hyperlane is, and these ones just seem to take forever. Now, what? I don't... Like, obviously one of these, at least, was the ground forces arriving, but why so many, and nothing seems to have changed? Is that... I think they got an extra heavy tracker. Why is that necessary? In particular, once there's already a fleet over the planet, why does it feel that necessary to say enemy fleet approaching when they're sending stuff into the fleet that's already there? What? Why? Why?
Mon calamari cruiser here.
That was probably...
Station ready.
Heading out.
Yep. Right there, Providence. Okay, well. Ground forces are hopefully secure. Our fleet is not under any immediate threat. They might be trying something down here, but I kind of doubt it. And the bomber fleet is about, what is that, 2/3 of the way? Ish. Guess it depends on where we sent them. Was it here? I don't actually remember where we sent them from, but they're getting there slowly. When they arrive, I really need to go through and check the hyperdrives on everything in there because something has got a bad one, it seems. But other than that, research is coming along. Stuff is being built. The month is almost over. They might be about to attack Ryloth, or they might just be sitting there for the heck of it. I'm not really sure. But that, I think, is where we're going to leave it for this episode. Things are slowly but surely coming along. I suppose we also took these, but I'm not really going to count that as any kind of actual progress for the episode. Not unless we actually claim the planets will I consider it as a thing. I guess the only thing this was we broke some of their stuff. But yeah, I think that is going to do it for this episode. These guys still don't seem to be doing much. That's good. Let's take a look at this real quick. Wow. Their admin costs are like, what, 3 credits? Seems like, compared to ours. Even the Empire's is pretty... I'd say theirs is about equivalent to ours. Ish. This is a little worrying. It's up and down. That was probably that ship that just got finished. That was that fleet we just killed. CSA is just kind of sat there. They don't seem to be doing anything lately. I don't know why. Other than this business. Although I think that was actually the Empire that initiated that. But yeah, they don't... I don't know why, but they're not really doing anything. Well, at any rate, that is the current situation. And I will say, thank you for watching. Next episode, I have no idea. We're gonna do something, probably. Potentially get attacked. Other than that, I don't know. But yeah. Thank you for watching. Take care. And farewell. God. I need to sort this fleet out again. I had that sorted out, and then the game crashed.